Hey, welcome back to Entreaty by Rhonda Hensley. I've had several people ask me here lately about where I came up with the name Entreaty. So I kind of wanted to explain that. And then they asked me, so what is Entreaty? And I wanted to explain that. So I came up, that word has really meant something to me for a long time. And so years ago at church, they were doing these spiritual gift tests. And so, I was all excited about it because, I didn't think I had any gifts. And I was all excited about, my spiritual gift because, they said everybody has spiritual gifts. So I took this test. And my spiritual gift was exhortation. Well, of course, the one that nobody knew what it was, I certainly didn't understand it or know what it was. Why couldn't have I got hospitality or, acts of service or, I always thought, in the body of the church, I was the funny bone because that's how I dealt with crap in my life. Was I made fun of it or laughed about it or it was silly, and it served me well for a lot of years because I didn't have to look at the crap on the inside of me. And like I said, I didn't feel like I had any gifts, but here I was with this gift, exhortation. Well, what does that mean? And I still really can't describe it. Probably 40 years later, but I understand it. I understand what it was. So in my search for trying to figure out what exhortation meant, this word entreaty came up. And entreaty is part of that. Entreaty means to call upon another with care and concern urgently. And it's kind of like to help others. You see things that in people that are causing problems or affecting them, and you can identify it and help them to identify it. And that kind of describes exhortation. And that, through several instances in my life, I've learned that that's exactly what I do. I think that's what the counselor saw in me, that he thought would make me a good counselor, because I could hone in on that. And so whenever I was thinking about doing life coaching, this was the name that I came up with, because that's kind of what, to me, life coaching or counseling or helping someone else, that's kind of what it means to me, is this entreaty. And so I have been working on a program to help people overcome destructive loops in destructive beliefs in their life that cause them to repeat these patterns, whether it's codependency, whether it's unhealed hurts from childhood trauma, whatever it is that's driving this negative behavior that causes problems, causes them to feel unworthy and unlovable, and all of those things, because that's what I felt. I felt unlovable. I felt that I wasn't enough, and I was never going to be enough. I clamored for other people's approval and their validation because I had none of my own. And on the inside, I was an empty shell, trying to fill that hole with stuff on the outside of me, with materialistic things, with the right clothes, the right hair. I owned a business. successful at that, lived in a big house, was married, had kids. We were active at church, we active in the community, they played sports, the whole thing. And yet I felt so unsuccessful on the inside, so inadequate and so insecure. And I was 42 years old and I hit bottom. I knew that I could not go on acting like everything was all right and dying on the inside. And I sought help. And I started with counseling, and then I was sent to a 12-step program. And I started to address those issues in my life. I started to address some childhood trauma. Never told anyone about that childhood trauma till I was 36 years old. And 6 years later, I ended up in recovery. I was codependent. I was eat up with the fear of abandonment because I was not lovable. And if you found out what I was on the inside, you were going to leave me. You were going to leave. Whether it was a friend, coworker, you were going to leave. So, through the years and through different processes, I completely changed my life. And I have been to college. I got an undergrad in social work. I have a master's in counseling. I own my own business. I did hair for years. And at age 54, I changed professions. And I went into the helping field. I had started when I got my social work license in 2000. And somehow, God decided that divine thing that He wanted me to work in the field of addiction. But what was really good is I did a lot of family stuff. Being a family member that was affected by alcoholism and my codependency, I had experience. Not book experience, not knowledge experience, life experience. And I could help those people. I've helped a lot of people over the years. I went to work in a treatment center when I got my counseling license and as a clinical director. And I worked there as a clinical director for about 5 years, and then I became the executive director. I was held an executive position in a huge corporation running a facility, and was competent at it and felt like I did a good job because I was different on the inside. Took me years to get there. So Entreaty, I have developed, is a step-by-step program to get over some of the things that cause the destructive loops in people's lives in a succinct, descriptive, step-by-step pattern. The things that I learned that took years and years to overcome that were affecting me the most are the things that I have zeroed in on and that we get straight to the meat of the issue. I'm here to help people. I want to help people succeed and to feel free in being themselves, to love themselves. It's the greatest gift, to be free, to be yourself, no matter what, in any situation, whether you're at work, church, home, friends, recreation, that you are the same. It doesn't mean I don't have fears, that I don't still struggle with insecurity, or that I feel inadequate. Imposter syndrome. I talk about it a lot. All it is I'm insecure. I feel insecure. And to overcome that, I have to plug into my spiritual side. There is no recovery without spiritual growth. And spiritual growth doesn't have anything to do with religion. It has to do with connecting to that intuition, to the universe that brings you things, to know yourself, because that's the inside. No one can take that from me. No one can take that connection from me. I can only give it away. And if I give it away, then it's on me. But I can hold on to that I can get up and I can tap into the power to help me overcome anything, to help me face anything, to help me do anything. And to know that I have worth just because I'm a child of God. I want that for you. If you like my channel, if you like what I share, please subscribe, hit like, leave me a message. I'll leave my email address there if you're interested in what I do. Also have a webpage. I created it before I really launched what I'm doing. Probably needs some work on it, do a little work on it, but I'll get there when I get there. This is pretty new to me. I retired 3 months ago, and I have worked for about 18 months getting ready for when I retired to launch what I'm doing now. I so would want for you to have the healing and the freedom that I've had from the trauma in my past. And if you like what I share, keep listening and keep coming back, because I'm going to be here. And remember to be you on purpose.